We're the last arriving unit on the first alarm, first arriving unit on the second alarm, right in that space of transition. And it was the sun was coming up, and it was in a beach part of San Diego, and it was a real tough spot for everyone to get to.
We got a lot to unpack with that, because just the technical rescue part of it, like that's a whole episode, that's a whole podcast series in itself. So I'm gonna break that down, but kind of backtracking a little bit with like where you started kind of getting into the public space. Cause again, that's something different for a guy in your profession. It's something different, I think, for guys in my profession. But for you, we're saying, hey, I got to unpack my headspace. Can you elaborate a little bit on what does a guy who is in the fire service for 30 years, what do you got to unpack?
Absolutely. There was a tipping point. In October of 2018, my company, it was about 4:30 in the morning. We'd been sent downtown for a structure fire in a restaurant. Ended up being a kitchen fire, no need for us there. And the battalion chief at scene, he said, hey, you guys need to cut. There's a structure fire busting. Sounds like it's going to go multiple alarms. Sounds like people are trapped, and you might as well get on the road. We got on the road, cleared from that fire, went to this next one, and we were the last arriving unit on the first alarm, first arriving unit on the second alarm, right in that space of transition. And it was the sun was coming up, and it was in a beach part of San Diego, and it was a real tough spot for everyone to get to. They had fought a lot of traffic to get to that spot, and they had a real tough time getting water to the fire. And so when we got there, the battalion chief said, hey, we have people trapped, go for a rescue. It was a real strange building layout. People that don't fight fire probably won't understand too much, but in layman's terms, like we always call the front the alpha side, the back is the Charlie side. And this was a taxpayer building, which is commercial on the bottom floor, and above it, residential. So it was a residential fire on the second floor with a third floor granny flat on the top. And the entrance was on the Charlie side, which is the back side. And the fire engines and the ladder trucks were all on the front alpha side, and they were trying to stretch lines to get up the stairs on the back. When they did that, the stretch was so long, they came up short, and so the nozzleman of the first nozzle was stuck in between first and second floor, and we passed them. My engineer, my two firefighters, and I, and we were told to go for a rescue. We got there, and this guy that he was actually a relief rescue guy, and he saw us. He said, hey, don't go, like we can't get water up there. And one of my guys said, copy that. Yeah, we're going. And he says, no, really, I can't get water up there. You're going up without a hose line. And my guy said, yeah, copy that. And we went. And that guy and I got to the second floor landing, and my engineer and the other firefighter stayed on the second floor. And my firefighter partner and I, we went to the third floor. We went up a staircase that was actually burning. Got up to the third floor, searched the granny flat. It had burned through. Came down, zero visibility, and then we started searching aside. Long story short, zero visibility, incredibly high heat. In the search, the way I had trained my crew to search is one guy would use our thermal imaging camera in one room, and then the partner would go do a physical search of the room, being watched by the guy with the camera, always giving him a point of reference to come out when things got really bad. So they could set off an alarm and flash a light and look at him and talk to him. Hey, you're coming right at me. Come on out. We can get out of there together. Well, one of the rooms that it was my turn to search without the camera, it was a bedroom, and it had like a fuller queen size bed in it. And I climbed up on that bed and had reached as far underneath as I could, climbed up on top, felt the wall, got got out of the room, I called it clear. And as the captain, it's my responsibility to call the primary clear. And I did. And I said, we found nobody. And in the secondary search, when the fire had been knocked down and the visibility was better, the secondary search was assigned to another company, and they found a guy in there, and they found him dead. And they brought him out CPR status, and it ruined me. It took me to my knees, and it was I want to say it was a lot of survivor guilt, but I also felt like I had failed, and it was an incredibly emotional feeling of I can't even put it all into words. But I felt like I had failed, and I felt like I had actually killed someone that deserved to live. And that's the hard part, is that, like, people talk about post-traumatic stress, a lot of those things. And I've done a lot of thinking about it. I've seen a lot of death in my career, and a lot of people do. But when you're trying to save someone and you fail, I think those are the things that stick with you. You second guess yourself, and you wonder, if I had done something different, if I had gone left instead of going right, if I had gone faster, if I had done a shortcut, if I had trained harder, there's so many variables that go into it. And, in that process of clearing out my headspace, I was fortunate that I was able to go to counseling. We have counseling through our work, and I finally humbled myself enough to go to counseling, and I was able to right my head and realize that I was there to try to make an unfortunate event for that person better. And it took some time of getting rid of the extreme ownership of his death, of feeling like I made a bad call, to get to the point where I can say, I no longer feel like I killed that person. I don't go around saying I killed that person. But that was where my headspace was. And that's not fair to myself. It's not fair to my family. And it's not fair to that person. I did not do a violent act to that person to take their life. I was actually trying to remove them from that violent act, and I was not successful. But, me and my guys, we risked everything to try to give that person a chance. It just did not work out.